Hello, everybody, and it's really early here this morning. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, so it's kind of dark in my kitchen, but I'm going to make flour tortillas. Now, in this bowl, I have 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 5 tablespoons of lard. Now, you can use shortening if you want. That's up to you. I don't use shortening because, well, I read some time ago what it was originally made for, and ever since then, if there's a recipe that even calls for it, I won't make it. But lard can be put in your freezer, and it can keep for years in your freezer. You can't freeze oils, so I try to go more with recipes that call for lard, but if you like Crisco, hey, we're all different. It's totally up to you. But this has 5 tablespoons of lard. And what I'm just going to do, hopefully without shaking this camera all over the place. And folks, one other thing, please clean your hands before. You know, if things get really bad, and I mean really bad in this country, you know, disease and sicknesses will be a serious issue. And cleanliness is one of those problems. Look at third world countries, you know, they're constantly teaching people, make sure you clean your hands, make sure you wipe down your things with bleach, and just on and on and on. So please always wash your hands first thing in the morning when you get up, and always before you start cooking, and even in between when you handle pork, chicken, beef, whatever it may be, wash your hands afterwards. There's no need for sicknesses or illnesses due to, you know, just not washing your hands. And so wash them, soap them up real good. Now we're mixing this lard into this flour with our fingertips. If you've got a cutter, you know, one of those, I call it dough cutters, you know, that cut into it, go ahead. But I'm the dishwasher, and less dishes, less water, less everything. To this, we are going to add a cup of water, hot water, very warm water. I heated this up in the microwave. Now, it may not take the entire cup, so I don't throw the whole cup in there. I got this much. I'll start this way and mix it. I hope I can do this without shaking the camera up really bad. But we want to mix this in with our hands. Get it all nice and mixed up here. Now you may want to kind of pour a little water. That's what I did, right down towards the bottom of the bowl, because it gets flour down in there. You see how, let me see if I can turn this. You see how there's flour right there at the bottom? You may want to add a little bit of water down in that to help for it to stick, or blend it in, I should say. But you see at the bottom? You see that? Well, you want to add a little more water to that, and that's what I'm going to do, so I can blend it better. Let's see if I can do this over the top of this camera here. There we go. If you get too much water, too sticky, you can always add a touch more flour, but I wouldn't worry about it because usually it doesn't happen. I've never used a complete cup of water ever. See, that's all the water I'm going to use, because you see how it's forming that ball? Now I'm going to show you something. This is how much water I have left over. That much in the bottom of this cup. Sometimes it's a little more. It just depends on the moisture in your air with your flour, but that's not quite even a 1/4 cup. It's just a small amount, but that's what you want to do. And then you just want to keep mixing this up. We're going to mix this. I'm going to put this on my table here, because you see all the flour has been taken out of there. And I'm just going to kind of take this dough. It's going to feel sticky to your hands, but that's okay. and you just want to knead it for a few minutes. Not forever and a day, because you're really not going to. If it's so sticky, you just can't deal with it. Maybe add a little bit of flour, but don't worry. It feels sticky to the hands. It does. Let me move this camera just a little bit so you can see this. You see? It feels sticky. It really does. But that's okay. It's supposed to feel tacky and sticky. Okay, this is it. Now, I'm going to pinch off a ball. Let's see if you can see this. Like that, okay? It's not a very big ball. And what I'm going to do, let's see if I can work this around this camera here, is I'm just going to take and make a little disc out of this ball, okay? You're just tucking under the ends a little bit, smoothing out the edges. That's all you're doing. You're going to do this until you have all the dough made into little round discs. You see that? And I'm going to put them right back in the same bowl. And I'm going to squeeze off another piece. You get about, I don't know, I get 13, 14 tortillas out of this. I never get 12. I always get more. Now, see, this disc feels just a tiny bit small for me. So I'm going to add just another piece of dough right underneath. And I'm just going to keep working this in here. Okay? You just practice. It's just making a little round disc is all it is. This is not hard to do. Okay? The secret is not as much in the dough as the cooking of it. And I'll explain that. Because I had, years and years ago, I could not make tortillas. Every time I'd make a tortilla, they would come out like crackers. I couldn't, they were not bendable. I would try to put something in them and fold them like you would a burrito, and they would crack. And no matter how hard I tried, let me get this off here. No matter how hard I tried, I just could not. I probably wasted a whole 25 pounds of flour over the years trying and trying and trying. Until I met a Hispanic woman one day, and we were talking, and I told her that what happened to my tortillas, and she came over, and she says, go ahead and make your dough. And she said, there's nothing wrong with your dough. It's perfect. And I said, well, every time I make them, they come out really bad. You see that? And she said, well, go ahead and start. Well, I did. I put them on my placa, and she goes, there's your mistake. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, your placa, it's your hot plate that you put them on, has to be super hot. You must heat that up in advance, a good 10 minutes before you even start cooking them. Because you want it to be super hot. Because when you throw it on there, you want it to brown up kind of nice on one side. And that's it. So let me get the rest of these done, and we'll show you how to roll them out and cook them. Okay, I got 15, or I'm going to get 15 tortillas out of this. Now, when you go to the store, they only give you 10 in a packet. That's 5 more that I get. Now, before the recession, you used to get 12, and then they cut it back to 10, and they jacked up the price. And I could tell you these taste far superior to anything you're going to find at the store. And they are not hard to make. But now I've got these made, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a plate over these, and I'm going to let them sit for about 10 minutes while my placa is heating up. Okay, this is my placa. Now I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to let it heat up for a good 10 minutes before I start putting the tortillas on here, because that is really the secret. It's not your dough as much, whether it's a little bit dry or it's a little too wet. If it's a little too wet, you put a little bit more flour on your board when you roll out the tortillas. If it comes out a little bit dry, you add a little more water to it when you're working it, because you want it to feel sticky to the hands. Now, not like gooey wet, but it's tacky, real tacky to the touch. Now, but this is your secret. Okay? And it must be heated up That's what that lady showed me that I was doing wrong, that my placa was not heated up enough, and what it was doing was just drying out the tortillas. So we're going to let this heat up. Okay, what we have here is a towel. I'm going to place the tortillas right here on this towel, and then I will fold this towel over to keep them warm as I do them one by one, okay? But now I'm going to show you how we roll out the tortillas. Put a small amount of flour on the board, okay? I have somebody else rolling these just for an example. I mean, they do know how to roll them, and don't worry about if they come out perfectly round. They don't have to. When you roll them up, you'll never know the difference. I'm giving you step-by-step here instructions so you can see. And hey, you can get your Nutter Butter. That's who's helping me. He's going to roll out one or two so I can show you while I hold the camera. He's not too good at the camera. I'm not that great at it myself. Trust me. Now he's going to keep rolling this and rolling it until he gets out. They're not huge. I don't like huge burritos anyhow. I prefer my tortilla to be fairly thin. It's kind of like rolling out a pie crust, okay? Now he throws it over here. Now we're going to turn the camera this way so you can see. Oh, let's see if I can get this going here so you can see me cooking the tortilla. Hope I can do this without my camera falling over. I'm going to throw this tortilla on here, like so. Oh, maybe I should have pulled it more over. See how it bubbles on the top? You see that? It's getting nice and bubbly. I should have gotten a fork to flip this. You see that? Because your placa's nice and hot, it cooks really quick. I got a fork here. It's easier if you use a fork to flip it. You just want to leave it a second or two on one side. That's it. And that's your tortillas. That's how you make them. And then you put them in your towel. See that? And then you put them inside your towel and you leave them there. And you can, if you want to use them right away, you can. But you leave them there until they cool off a little bit, and then you just put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in your refrigerator. Well, I hope you enjoy this. Watch the whole thing because it gives you step-by-step instructions. And trust me, when things fall apart, you won't be able to afford how high the tortillas are going to go. God bless you and keep you, and have a blessed day.